Hi everybody, it's Marcy, and I'm here with another little craft with me. I'm working on my May Mayhem junk journal for Dear Julie Julie's May Junk Journal Challenge. And you can see here I made myself a little spreadsheet and highlighted all of the items that were to use for each element in a different color so I can easily pick them out. And today I thought I'd work on my 2 large tags, for which I have to use sewing pattern, paper flowers, and lined journal space. Now my journal, I'm using this book, I've already taken it all apart, that I had picked up at our semi-annual library sale, and I absolutely fell in love with the images in it. I'll just flip through a couple so you can see. I mean, we've got all sorts of these beautiful country store paintings. Those are some black and white sketches. I have lots of black and white sketches in here. But anyway, I'm not going to take the time to go through them all, but this is what I want to use for my journal. So I have a very definite idea of how I want my journal to look. Using some of these images, so basically I'm using all of the items that were required to use just to try to make that fit, or make them fit into what I want for the journal. Okay. So my tag has to be at least approximately 3 by 7. All right. Already been busy, even though I'm barely awake and still sipping on coffee. Okay, here I've just got a piece of thin scrapbook paper that I had coffee dyed. That this is a scrapbook paper that I don't foresee myself using, so thought I would use that as the base for my tag. So now cut off that tiny edge. And ideally, I would let my glue dry before I did this, but save that scrap. That at 1/2 inch, leave a 1/2 inch on the bottom. Leave a 1/2 inch on the top. All right. So that's a start with that one. Toss those in my scrap box. now I need to get this one down. All right, give me just a second. I've got to grab another sheet of coffee dyed paper. Now, all right, so there's my base. Now I need sewing paper and paper flower and lined journaling space. Now my problem is and this is where I'm having to make my elements work for what I want for this journal. And these are the paper flowers that I've been using. They're actually cut from, I had some wallpaper border. But for these particular pictures, that flower seems kind of harsh. So I'm thinking what I may do, I have some lined note paper that I'd actually coffee dyed for last month's challenge that I ended up not using. So I'm thinking I might just cut that down. Put my flower on the top, or on that, which would meet the requirements. Maybe we'll just tear that. So for right now, I'm going to use this. How did I miss? Okay. So I've got some lined journaling space. And since my paper flower is actually wallpaper, I want to use my Fabri-Tac. Not my Fabri-Tac, my art glitter glue. Okay. So that works for me, although I may lose part of it. Oh, Marcy, Marcy, Marcy. Oh, I may just miss it. Okay. Let's go ahead. Corner. In that corner. Yeah, I missed the flower. Good. Okay. Now, I think I might actually okay, hang on just a minute. I'm gonna actually, I may grab a bigger piece of pattern paper, but I think I'm actually gonna make a little ruffle out of my pattern paper. So hang on just a second. I'm gonna run over to my sewing machine and I'll be right back. Okay, so I made my little pattern ruffles and I made several of them. That way I can use them in a couple of other places in the journal. And so I think what I'm going to do, and I went ahead and cut the corners on this one, added some note paper and flour to the back of it, inked around my edges so you didn't have to watch me do that. So I think I've actually gone back and forth about this a number of times, but no matter where I put the ruffle, I thought about putting it at the top, thought about, tacking along the side, but my initial thought, and I think where I actually like it best, is at the bottom. My only hesitation is I'm going to need to be careful where I put these in my journal. So that the ruffle doesn't cause a hindrance in taking the tag in and out, but also so it doesn't get torn off. But I really think that's where, on both of them, that I like the ruffle the best. So, for better or worse, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac because I want it to dry pretty quickly so I can sew around the edges. And I'm not using much, but I'm spreading it a little wider than might be necessary because I want the ruffle to be adhered in as many places as possible. And I'm just going to let that hang off the bottom edge a little bit. I think these will need to go in a belly band or something, is my thought on this, which is fine. Or maybe even a side pocket. And when I made the ruffle, I just made very messy. I had torn the edges of the, or torn the pattern paper, and then just made very messy ruffle, which I thought suited this better. The sort of rustic vintage. So, trim that edge. Trim that edge. I'll save that little piece. That little piece can be thrown away. Trim that edge. That edge. Save that piece. Those can be thrown away. Okay. So now I've got to let that dry for just a minute, and then I'm going to sew around my edges, and then I'll be right back and we'll finish this up. Okay, I've got my edges sewn around. And now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of these eyelets that I had added some patina to using my alcohol inks, and I'm going to place them. Now I'm using a little bit bigger hole punch than my crocodile gives, because these eyelets are a hair shade bigger, and they work fine with the crocodile, but the hole doesn't punch quite large enough. All right, so that one did well. And then I think I've got this lace here. Let's see what that looks like. If this doesn't tickle me, then I've got another idea to try. But I thought I'd give this a try first, just because I've already used this a little bit. On other elements for my journal. That looks kind of wimpy on there. Okay, I've got this hemp cord. Let's see what we think of it. If we kind of make a, my thought is kind of make a tassel. Get them all. Yeah, I think I like the hemp cord better. And there are my they're very simple tags, but that's the, I don't know whether to call it an issue, but I want these images from the book, these painting prints, to be, I guess, the star of the journal. So I'm having to really be careful with the amount of embellishing and stuff that I do. So anyway, so those are my two large tags. I really like I wasn't sure that I was really going to like that, but I do like it. It gives it a little personality for such a simple tag. And I think I'm also glad I added the eyelets, just because, again, it's a very simple tag. And so that gives it a little something. Okay, anyway, that's it. Stay safe, be healthy, and happy crafting, everyone. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.